What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York at Knitting Factory today. We just wrapped up an awesome interview with Orphanland, and now we are here with tonight's headliner, Týr. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. It's been about 5 years since the release of, I'm just going to say it the way Valkyra, right?
Yeah, Valkyria.
Yeah, how do you say it?
Valkyria.
Okay. It's been about 5 years since the release of that record.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have like a conclusion? I heard that was like one of your most successful records. Do you have like a conclusion on that record cycle?
Well, do you mean a conclusion as in how well it's ever gonna do?
Yeah.
It did better than all our previous albums, so we're pretty pleased with it. But we still hope we could sell a few more copies if we keep growing.
Yeah, of course. Now, I know that you also are currently working on your new record, and it's been about 5 years since the release of Valkyra. Are you planning to make like a follow-up to the Valkyra record, or is this going to be like a new start?
It's never really a new start for us. It's sort of a slight change in style and direction, but it's never like ripping everything up by the roots and starting over. We've never done that, and so people will recognize the Týr sound definitely, but there's some new influences, some old influences, and it's a step in several directions at the same time maybe, but it's still definitely Týr.
Okay. Now, over the years from hearing you guys in other interviews, you compare like your earlier work to now. Like a lot of people have said that like there was more folk metal elements in the earlier stuff, and it's more metal now. Did that happen intentionally, or did it just happen like that?
Well, that was not the intention, no, but it was a consequence of involving Terry and Gunnar more in the songwriting. They don't have the same affinity for folk metal as I do, or not folk metal, I should say folk music. I love folk music, especially Faroese folk music very much, and I use it to make the songs and melodies that I write. Terry and Gunnar do not do that, so the more they're involved, the less folk music there will be. That's the reason for that.
Okay.
So all the songs that I've worked on for this album have folk elements, and that's 5 songs.
Okay. And I know that like the folk music of the Faroe Islands is more a cappella based, right?
Yeah.
So did you, when forming the band and everything, was like your intention to focus more on the folk metal elements and bring that in, or did you always want to combine it with like a heavier style of music?
It was the first thing I did when I made my my own band when I was sometime in my early 20s. The first thing I tried was combine heavy metal and folk music. So it was definitely something I wanted to do.
Okay.
And something I thought hadn't been done. It had been done, I found out later, by other bands that I didn't know about, but I thought I was pretty original back then. It turns out I wasn't.
Well, I mean, you see how like a band like Amon Amarth would do it, or Korpiklani. That sounded like somebody was getting waxed over there. But so when you tour, like I know that you've toured with like a lot of other folk metal bands. You're touring with Orphanland now, but you've toured with a variety of heavier bands and stuff like that. So how different of a reaction do you get with your music depending on who you tour with?
Well, that's difficult to say. I mean, this is sort of the same people, the same kind of people everywhere. We did a tour with, we've done a few tours with bands that have nothing to do with folk metal, and I didn't think it was much much difference in the reaction. Like we were on tour with Children of Bodom in the US and with Rage in Europe, and good tours, and we got nice support, and thinking back, I can't say there was any real difference in the reaction of the audience.
Okay. Now, one thing I've really liked about your music is that you always have like a concept. I know that your records tell stories. Do you think of a story first in the songwriting process and write music according to that, or do you like have to hear some music before you start thinking of a concept?
Well, no, I had the concept first. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. I have a few songs ready for the album, like before I start working on it, and then as a completely different project, I find a story, and it's not relevant to what music there is already. So I have the music and I have the story, and I just combine it. And some of the stories are pretty detailed and accurate. I know precisely what I'm going to do. Like with Ragnarok, it's a pretty precise story, and people who know the Nordic mythology will know exactly what I'm referring to. Valkyria is sort of more, well, you can call it it's a fictive story, of course. I just made it up, but it has like mythological subjects in it. The one we're making now is also based on a mythological concept, but it's less of a story and maybe more a collection of related short stories. It's hard to say right now. I didn't really have the story lined out for this one. I had like the mood and the angle, and I wrote a few songs sort of in the same angle. Maybe some of them fall a bit beside, but you'll see. It's not like Ragnarok, and maybe not even like Valkyria, but there's a concept there of sorts.
Okay. And do you think with this next record, I kind of already asked this, but like with the next record, are you gonna try to bring back maybe some of the folk metal and a cappella elements, or are you gonna kind of like try to stick with more of the metal sound?
We have a lot of choirs here. No a cappella. Yes, there's one song that has an intro with only vocals, and the rest of it is pretty metalish, but with a lot of choirs and vocal harmonies. So yeah, same as last time, I guess. One a cappella start, and the rest is just metal with a bit of folk in it.
Okay. And one question I was curious about, I always love asking about how where the metal scene is like from where bands are from, and I was actually researching metal bands from the Faroe Islands and like I actually did see quite a bit of bands on the list. So for you, starting from that area of the world, what was the metal scene like?
There was always a few metal bands. It's not like you can say there's a scene. It's like a huge scene with everything in it. And some of the bands were metal, and I really liked that from when I was very young. There was the first band I remember seeing in my area was Rainbow and Deep Purple cover band.
Oh.
You thought I was going to say Rainbow.
And Deep Purple. I was like, damn, that's a good first cut.
They were never in the Faroes. So this was a cover band, and they were quite good. And that's not what got me into metal. I already knew metal from hearing Mötley Crüe and Iron Maiden. Those were the first bands I listened to, on tape, of course, cassette.
It's before my time.
Yeah, and the scene sort of developed a bit in the Faroes. A few more metal bands as I grew older, and we started in the same scene. You get to play together with other bands who have nothing to do with metal. There's a few concerts and festivals where they sort of mix everything together. Nowadays, the last, I would say maybe 5 years, there's concerts with only metal in it, well, come to think of it, there were a few of those kinds when we started also playing metal in the Faroes. I remember 2 or 3 shows or small concerts with like 7 or 8 metal or rock bands where we played also. So I guess you can say there's been a consistent presence of metal, although not a big scene.
Yeah, well, I'd figure being like in between England and Norway and like that, maybe you could hit with the crossfires.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, I mean, one of the first bands, the second band I ever heard of metal was Iron Maiden, and I fell for it completely immediately. And shortly after that, I heard a Norwegian band called Return. Now it's not really it's like a pop rock band, but they have these extremely nice guitar parts that I still love, and it influenced me greatly. Then there's some Danish bands. There's something called Skagerrak, and not to mention TNT from Norway.
No.
Oh, I love that.
And the black metal capital of the world too.
I never liked the black metal thing.
Okay.
It never grew on me.
All right. Well, there goes that next question. But no, I figure being just in that area of the world, like that would maybe like have kind of flowed through there.
No, the Norwegian black metal is, so far as I know, not very popular in the Faroes.
Okay.
People like, harmonic melodic music. It can be as heavy and hard as they want it to, but I have the feeling people don't really like music that doesn't apply harmonies and melodies.
Okay.
So I think that might be the reason. Maybe I'm speaking from my own prejudice here. Don't nail me on that.
Yeah. Sorry, black metal fans. He said it, not me. But I mean, no, because I know that your music is very, like, I could tell that where you're from influences your music. So I think people who may not even like metal but like the traditional Faroe a cappella music are going to appreciate it.
Yeah, we got a few of those.
Like, I know people from Israel who hate metal but they love Orphan Land because of what they do. And, you know, I think it could be said for bands like Korpiklani or any other type of folk metal band.
I think that's true,
Yeah, and if you're a pirate and hate metal, you could still appreciate Allstorm. But before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. You know, do we have like an expected date for when the new record's going to come out and everything?
We do not.
Okay.
I shouldn't say anything.
Okay. You'll tell me when I turn the camera off. But everybody, I want to thank you so much for your time. Everybody, we are here with Týr. Catch them on their tour with Orphan Land. Be on the lookout for their new record coming soon. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we'll see you next time.